Hi Harwood Hawks, this is Mrs. Gravlin here, and I'm going to be reading to you guys today. This week you guys are going to be practicing identifying the central message of a story. That can also be called the moral of the story or a theme in a story. And what that really means is that the author is trying to teach us a life lesson, and they do that through a story. Most of the stories you're going to be reading are called fables. And a fable, which we're going to be reading today, we're going to read from the book of Aesop, Aesop's Fables. And a fable means it's a story that's passed down, and instead of humans in the story, they always use animals in the place of a human. So animals that have human interaction. The first story we're going to read is called The Fox and the Crane. And as I'm reading, I want you to think about what lesson is the author trying to teach me in this story. The Fox and the Crane. A stingy fox once invited a crane to his house for dinner. He served a delicious meal, but he put it on a very flat plate. The poor crane, with her long beak, could not get the food at all. She turned her neck this way and that way, but it didn't help. The food always slipped away from her beak. The fox, pretending not to see the crane's trouble, gobbled up all of the food in no time at all. Of course, the crane was still hungry after the table had been cleared. "Dear Miss Crane," said the fox as the crane was leaving, "I hope that you have enjoyed your meal. Let's get together soon." The crane nodded politely, but she did not reply. However, soon afterward, the crane invited the fox to her house for dinner. She too served a delicious meal, but in a very tall, thin goblet. Of course, the fox couldn't get at the food. He tried this way and he tried that way, but it didn't help. His food was down at the bottom of the goblet, and no matter how he tried, he couldn't reach it. In the meantime, the crane put her long beak down into her tall, thin goblet and easily ate up her delicious meal. This time, it was the fox who was still hungry after the table had been cleared. "Dear Mr. Fox," said the crane as the fox was leaving, "I hope that you have enjoyed your meal. Let's get together soon after." But the embarrassed fox never called on the crane. In this story, I'm thinking about what did the characters learn? What happened to them? And what life lesson can we learn by their interaction? So I know that at first, the fox invited the crane over, but he enjoyed watching her struggle. And even though he enjoyed his meal, she never got to eat her meal. So in order to teach him a lesson, the crane did the same exact thing to the fox. And she invited him over and said, "Enjoy your meal," knowing that he wouldn't be able to eat it. So the moral of the story, or the theme of the story, the lesson that the author is trying to teach us, is to treat others the way that you want to be treated. And obviously, the fox did not treat the crane very well, and so she wanted to teach him a lesson. So she did the same thing to him, and he realized he didn't like it very much. That is our first story, The Fox and the Crane. Today, and for the rest of this week, you guys are going to be reading passages, reading fables, and now it's your job to think about what happened to the characters and what life lessons did they learn. Enjoy.